Hey guys, today we're going to be watching a very interesting game between two really high-skilled players coming from the very best positions on the ladder. This guy is from around like top 10, and his opponent, the Slav, is a bit lower in the ranks, but he's still a very prominent and skillful player. This guy is playing for Deutsche Afrika Corps, which is a very good faction in terms of aggression, and just the base setting in general is a very interesting choice, I would say, especially compared to other titles in the series, compared to Company of Heroes 2, where both German factions were kinda more defensive, I would say, and Deutsche Afrika Corps is just a lot more aggressive in general, so it's gonna be a very interesting thing to see in this game, how he's gonna be operating with this faction. And his opponent is playing as British, which is obviously a very good faction overall. It's a very balanced one, and it's also like the faction that has a lot of great armor in this game, a lot of hefty tanks with lots of HP and armor, so it's gonna be a big problem for the Germans here to counter. So we'll see how he's gonna be trying to overcome that. The map is very interesting as well, because this map, it's like a beach landing or something like that, has a lot of elevation here especially, and around this beautiful houses around this area, and it can be like a really nasty position to fight in, especially if you are taking the lower ground like Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars. And this is a very interesting position overall, because you can see there are two victory points here, one here and also another one is here, so you can just hold them and try to win the game just by this count, and you don't really need to take extra resources on the top of the map here. So it's also a very interesting way to play defensively only on this map, because usually on all other maps the victory points are kind of spread across evenly, and you would normally see like one of the points somewhere in the middle like here, but for this map specifically you can have less resources, but you can also hold the victory points and just construct a very formidable defense here. So Deutsche Afrika Corps, this player, the Slav, he's going for a standard Sonderkraftfahrzeug to be able to transport his infantry and his troops around the map freely, and also he gets special combat bonuses for his infantry, which is also very good in the early game, because, well, obviously you wanna save manpower, it's the most scarce resource in this game, so it kinda makes sense. And also because with this kind of extra vehicle you don't really have any issues with attacking infantry, because obviously they don't really do much damage to armor, even though it's like not really well armored compared to other vehicles in this game, but still it's something that's really annoying for British players and just for all other factions to counter, right? Because you don't really have any anti-tank guns at the beginning, you can only rely on mines, or you can wait for the upgrades for the boys anti-tank rifles, but it's not gonna be happening soon. So this engineer squad is already retreating. It's like a small victory for Deutsche Afrika Corps here. Not a big deal obviously, but still it's a very nice start, and Crusaders, the motorcycle, is taking this point. So the German player is kind of trying slowly but surely take the ammo points. They're very important, I would say, because in general you need a lot of ammo points for MG, light machine gun, especially in the early game where you don't really have any other things to spend ammo on, so this is a very good upgrade that can make a difference, especially in these infantry battles. So the British player is trying to advance here. It's a very reckless advance, I would say, and it's not something that he's supposed to do, but for some reason he's thinking it's a good decision. Oh, because he has a grenade, and the grenade does a lot of engine damage, but I kinda believe that he's still gonna be able to retreat. Yes, there's just a little HP left, he's super vulnerable right now, but I feel like he's gonna be able to retreat, and yes, this vehicle does. And yeah, this is a big problem now for the German player, because he can, well, lose this vehicle if he doesn't go back at home, but the problem is that the closest infantry section is actually too far away and can't really reach that target, and they are also being chased by assault grenadier squad at this moment, so they just kind of have to retreat at home and maybe like regroup and try to take other territories on this map. Crusaders is capturing this manpower point, a very important one, and in general so far the German player is doing a better job, I would say. He's taking a little bit more map control, and you can see on the resource tab he's having just a bit more ammo, but in terms of oil at the same time. The British player is doing a really great job on the beach. He's taking the control of this oil depots, and he's probably gonna have some kind of a light vehicle, maybe like a light tank very soon. there are different choices for this faction to be made, so it's going to be very interesting. Panzer Grenadiers are coming back into the battle. Well, they should be really careful because, yes, there are extra grenades right now. The first grenade is going, and yeah, it could be really bad for this vehicle once again, but yeah. The British player is just losing too much manpower in this battle. I'm not sure if that's actually a really good engagement for him, so he has to retreat back and he has to take a better position in the green cover, which negates a lot of damage, and it's a very good position for him to fight in, but in general I would say probably would make more sense for him to retreat and regroup somewhere else right now, but he's still trying to push the Germans out from these positions. But it's gonna be really hard against Panzer Grenadiers, or rather Assault Grenadier squad, which is extremely efficient on the close range. The grenades are coming, and yeah, the German player is doing a great job. The British guy is retreating, but at the same time, again, the problem is the manpower right now, obviously, for the British guy. He has a lot of resources in the bank, he has a lot of oil right now, a lot of fuel, but he needs to spend it on something, right? Maybe he'll build a Humber armored car. It's a very good choice, but the problem is, at the same time, the German player, the Slav, is already preparing the 8 Rad, and it's gonna be a big deal in this game, especially if the British player doesn't build anything himself, right? Well, we'll see. So far, he's just trying to recapture the points, he's trying to get in control again, advancing from this position. There's only one squad of Panzer Pioneers. It's not a big deal, obviously, for this infantry section, but they have a flamethrower, so could be like a big problem right now if they decide to get a little bit closer. But fortunately for the British player, he sees that and he's not really doing that, so it's a good thing. And at the same time, he's trying to recapture the territory that belongs to him, that's very close to his base. And it's kind of okay, he's trying to do that. Not very efficient right now, but still, that's fine. He has just more infantry in general, but his units obviously just slightly worse. And there's the first 8 Rad. This is like the big problem right now. He might lose this squad of infantry. Should be very careful, but I think it's probably going to happen. There's just not enough HP, and this poor little guy who is running with his rifle is going to die here. At the same time, the British player already has the Humber, which is not really a good counter to this 8 Rad. I don't really think it's gonna work out, so he should be really careful right now. He could be shooting from the back because the armor on the back is actually pretty bad, and there is a chance to get this Panzer Grenadier squad, but they need a bit more accuracy right now, and yeah, I don't think because of this distance, yeah, probably not gonna get that, and yeah, the squad just retreats. At the same time, there is a squad of Panzer Jägers ready. Okay, this Humber is trying to actually get this 8 Rad. It was very successful, but at the same time, this squad of Panzer Jägers is on the battlefield, and the British player is gonna lose another unit here on the battlefield. There is a grenade going, but it's probably not gonna make a difference, actually. And yeah, this is a pretty unfortunate series of events right now for the British player. He needs to come back to this game somehow, some way. His battle group is heavy armor, and he's looking for, of course he's looking for this thing, yeah, the Crusader anti-air medium tank. This thing is actually pretty decent, and it's gonna be a big deal for him right now. To tell the truth, actually, the German player doesn't really have any counters to this medium tank so far. Yes, he has the Panzerjäger squad, but they don't really deal as much damage, at least to the front armor, and yeah, with this Crusader, there is a big chance that this player is going to be able to come back. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Yeah, the first battle already is a disaster for the German player. He's trying to counter that thing, but yeah, it doesn't look like this. And he's probably going to lose this squad of Panzerjäger. The damage is just amazing. Yeah, the squad is dead, and that's a pretty bad turn of events for the German guy. The Slav, the Deutsche Afrika Corps, needs to think of something, yeah, needs to counter that in one way or another. The media time is also gonna get the veterancy very soon, the first veterancy, which improves his acceleration and just overall speed, which is a pretty big deal actually. He will be able to travel across the map much more freely, and it's a really important factor to consider. So far so good for the British guy. Actually, this comeback is happening. He already did a lot of damage to the opponents, but we'll see if the German is actually able to come back after this big blow delivered by the British player. So far the Crusader is doing a great job here. He's just trying to go back. H-Rod is trying to chase a squad of infantry as well and gets that. Well, that's a very nice kill here, but I'm not sure if that's worth it, right? But because he kinda... There's just a possibility to lose this H-Rod. Maybe if the Crusader goes for it, but he just looking for this infantry kill. At the same time, the Marder 3 is already at the position, so there's finally an AT gun. Also the mobile version of the AT gun, right? So Crusaders are also getting on the mine, and yeah, this is a pretty big deal right now. This mine was placed by the squad of Pioneers, but there's the second Crusader at the same time, so this is gonna be a tough situation for the German player. He's trying to retreat with his Marder. One shot lands perfectly, but is there enough damage? Actually, I don't really feel like this. The second Crusader is trying to flank the Marder. Marder is pretty beaten right now, but so is Crusader, and the first one is down. There's the second one. He probably should be retreating back. The smoke is deployed, but at the same time, oh, this is gonna be really risky for this British player. He needs to retreat with his last tank here, but he's probably not gonna be able to do that. Oh no, the German player is just not seeing his target. Yeah, Marder is actually, it's not very mobile, and he needs to be placed directly against the target. So yeah, Crusader manages to escape. Maybe because, again, this German guy was a bit afraid of a possible grenade, something like that, or maybe like the second Crusader coming out of nowhere, so he decided to retreat. The game got really rusty and messy right now. A lot of beaten vehicles, a lot of broken engines, and both players actually need to take their time and repair what they have, and maybe just be a little bit more cautious right now. We'll see. So far, the German player is trying to recapture what he's lost, and he's doing that slowly, I would say, because, yeah, obviously he needs time. He lost all of his infantry squads except for the Panzer Pioneers and except for this Panzer Grenadier squad, so he really lacks infantry. But at the same time, the same thing could be said about the British player, who also lost almost everything. The second Crusader is already on the field, so it's pretty good. With two Crusaders, it's actually possible to overrun this one Marder tank, which is still retreating back. Yeah, and to me it feels that this engagement could be a very good opportunity for the British player, especially because he already has the anti-tank rifles. Oh, it's a big deal right now in this battlefield, so he should be probably trying to do that, but there is one mine that was placed by Panzer Grenadiers previously, but at least they can get the H-Rod, maybe. Yeah, I think it's guaranteed right now, but the grenade is very important right now, the cruise shock, and maybe this Marder can take his sweet revenge on this Crusaders. -1 Crusader again, and the second one should be retreating back, but yes, the engine damage is too much right now. It's trying to go and battle Marder up in front, but yeah, there's the second one already, and the German player is doing a great job here, just fighting to the last. Yeah, he's probably gonna do that, right? Yeah, the second Crusader is down, and it's been a very good engagement for him. Yeah. Now, I don't really see like an opportunity for the British player to come back in this game right now. But yeah, well, there are still things he can do. Obviously, he still controls a large portion of the map, and obviously with such map control you can do a lot, and you still have a lot of resources. He's trying to take the manpower points, and this is probably the most scarce resource right now, right? So he obviously needs to do that. And yeah, well, but in general his situation is pretty tough, to be honest, because he lost everything he had. He only has 2 squads of Royal Engineers, and it's obviously not enough. Now, for the German player, he has everything he needs. On the contrary, has 2 Marder tanks, and this guy is also with the second veterancy, which makes him even more deadly, right? So, to be honest, for the British player, he's just trying to buy time, I guess. He's playing with this heavy armor battle group, which unlocks a lot of cool tanks and a lot of cool stuff. Like Black Prince, for example, a very heavy and powerful tank for his faction. And the German guy is also playing with armored support battle group, another thing, another choice that allows for a great mech play style. He'll be using a lot of Panzers, he'll be using a lot of upgrades on those Panzers, but yeah, The problem right now, again, for the British player is that he doesn't really have any combat infantry. Yes, Royal Engineers are, you know, they're kind of good, they can place a lot of mines, they can repair vehicles, but the problem is, again, well, what are you gonna do with the Panzer Grenadiers, what are you gonna do with the Assault Grenadiers? He's losing this 6-pounder cannon. Should be very, very careful here, the grenades are flying, and yeah, the British player is in a very tough spot right now. He's trying to get from his base, actually, he's trying to fight with this Assault Grenadiers, but yeah, well, he managed to recapture this gun, which is already a nice achievement, considering his tough situation, but at the same time, yeah, the British player unlocked the Black Prince. He still needs a lot of resources for this Black Prince to be able to call it, so it's gonna take him some time, but if he manages to hold for that amount of time, he's gonna be able to unlock a very powerful unit that can easily turn the tide in this game. But to be honest, it's gonna be very, very difficult, right? Because he's retreating here, he's trying to recapture some points, but in general, yeah, the fights are not looking great at all. And also, even if he gets the Black Prince, well, let's see if he actually gets that at one point, but imagine he collects enough resources to get this tank, he's still gonna be facing two anti-tank, not anti-tank, it's just tank destroyers, right? And one of them already has the second veterancy, so it's gonna be like a really tough battle, even for his heavy armor. But who knows, maybe he'll be able to come back with this reinforcement. So far he's just trying to launch those counterattacks with his Royal Engineers. They're really dirt cheap, so you can try to attack with them all the time. Not the best use of resources, of course, but, well, maybe it makes sense if you're gonna make a lot of heavy tanks in the future. Maybe. I don't know. To me it seems like, yeah, he's in a very bad situation in world troubles, but he's trying to do something, and the German player is already attacking to get the most standard, the basic Panzer free, or as they say in the game, Panzer dry. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. With Panzer now, the German player can be easily assaulting the base, he can easily flank the cannon and just do a lot of nice things on the battlefield, and obviously the engineers are not going to be a problem. They actually do not have a grenade to counter this Panzer, so, you know, this is going to be a big deal right now. Maybe they should be planting mines, but the one who's planting mines is German in this time, so I don't really see a good possibility for the British player to do anything on the battlefield right now. He still has, though, a lot of resources, and he's very, very close to achieving the Black Prince. The Black Prince costs 180 fuel, so he's almost there. He's actually almost there, he has almost enough manpower, and yeah, almost enough fuel for this tank. So maybe, but, well, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, let's see how the German player is gonna respond. The problem with the German player, something that actually puzzles me, he has quite a lot of troops, he has quite a lot of resources, he has the first tank, but the map control is still not going his way, and yeah, this is something that I have to say about the British player. Even though that he's been taking like really unfavorable battles for the last couple of minutes, he at least managed to control at least his half of the map, right? So he was still getting resources, he was still getting these important manpower points, and obviously this is the most important resource in the game, because, well, the bigger your army is, the less manpower you get, so it makes sense that he was really trying hard to maintain that balance on the battlefield. Obviously, the fights were not great, but, well, he actually achieved his goal, and he got the Black Prince that's already on the map, and now with this Black Prince, I think his chances are rising, and they are now a bit more significant. However, he'll still have to deal with the mortars, and he doesn't really have a good infantry support, but he has at least anti-tank gun, so maybe with this thing it's gonna be possible to attack these German forces. They are deployed, not in a very good position, to be honest, because yeah, there are no advantages, and yeah, the tank is in the open field, and obviously the AT gun is gonna start doing its work. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for the German player. He's just losing hit points here, but at the same time, again, it's not a big deal right now, because he can just go back, retreat, repair, and just gain some extra XP. It's gonna be very useful, but he just doesn't know about this Churchill Black Prince. So yeah, it's gonna be a big problem for this Panzer dry. He needs to retreat back, but yeah, 2 murders. It's just not gonna be possible for this Black Prince right now. He's deploying smoke, I see. So yeah, he needs to go back and get the support of this cannon. Yeah, actually, the German player is trying to assault this tank. Well, I think it's just a bit too ambitious right now. Yeah, and he's probably gonna lose this. Panzer dry? No, actually, no, it's not gonna happen. Black Prince is hit, and he's very, very in need of repair. So probably it's gonna be a wise decision to just get back and try to repair this unit. The German at the same time also lost quite a lot. He needs to install this gun, at least to get some extra weapon and extra damage on the infantry. But yeah, well, so far, as you can see, the German player is just trying to win in a bit of a different way. He's trying to put a bigger emphasis on the infantry and specifically on assault grenadiers to be able to control the map and to be able to win all the infantry fights. At the same time, if you have a lot of assault grenadiers, you can just run straight to your opponent's line, just disable all the cannons, disable all the AT guns, and just then outflank the tanks, maybe with Panzer dry or also with Martyrs. So yeah, the biggest problem for the German player right now is not the Black Prince, actually. The biggest problem is this AT gun, right? And if he manages to destroy that, or at least disable that, decrew that, then maybe he'll be able to just go in a straight fight with this Black Prince. With this amount of tank destroyers, it's probably gonna be a very easy task for him. So the British player should be very careful with that. He should be planting more mines, and this is what he actually does right now. And yeah, it's a very good decision in this game. Okay, Panzer dry. He's trying to go there. Oh, it's a very unfortunate engagement for the Pioneers. Again, Black Prince retreating a bit back. He sees the Martyrs, but yet here is that shot that lands perfectly on Martyr dry. He needs to go back. Yeah, it's a lot of damage actually. It's a pretty terrible engagement for the German player, even though he didn't lose anything, right? So there are all of his vehicles still on the battlefield. Damage was very serious, and he needs to spend some time repairing all of those tanks. So yeah, time is also a very important resource in this game. So now, as you can see, the British player will be able to recapture some very important territories and maybe even get extra HP for his Black Prince tank. And yeah, this is something that can happen right now. But there is already this second Panzer, and yeah, it's going to be very dangerous here for this tank, though. There are a lot of mines on this area, so he needs to be very careful with this moving here, with this reckless driving. Yeah, the engineer squad manages to retreat. It's a bit enough. That was a bit unfortunate for the German player, but yeah, obviously it would have been very risky to try to follow this squad to the base. Oh, and the mines actually hit this tank. All of a sudden, I think he actually managed to retreat, and he actually managed to avoid those mines, but no, it didn't happen, and the tank was very unlucky with this movement pattern. But yeah, at the same time, I don't see British player trying to go for a pursuit here, and the tank is probably going to be safe at home very soon. There's a lot of extra cover for the tank, a lot of extra troops. That's going to be really, really helpful right now. Black Prince is just retreating back. There is this cannon that's been a pain in the ass for the German player, but now he probably can try to go for this assault, direct assault on the positions of the British player. Only one tank, only one cannon, nothing else to support this attack, right? Nothing else to support this defense. So it's a big, big deal right now. He needs to be very careful. He is doing a good job retreating, just, well, the Martyrs are not really trying to go for it. He's keeping a very good distance between the tanks and his anti-tanks, or like rather tank destroyers. But yeah, it's been not a very good fight for the German as well, because he's losing this valuable assault grenadiers. They cost a lot of resources, so this fight, even though it looked like the German was trying to get the initiative in this engagement, he was like trying to advance and so on. To tell the truth, I think he just lost a bit more manpower in this engagement, and it's not something that he was looking for. So yeah, not the best use of resources. Okay, Martyr dry, trying to engage again. That's a very risky position for this vehicle to be in. Oh my god. He might lose this little unit here. He's been very... Okay, no. It's not gonna happen. Panzer III on the left side, trying to advance again. Yeah, the situation is actually pretty tough for the German player. This Black Prince has been too much for this German player to handle, for these Martyrs. They are just very, very easy to target by this cannon, right? So he needs to be extra careful right now. Panzer III could be used here as a flanking unit, and that's what he's probably going to be trying to do. So Grenadiers are advancing forward, but again he's hitting those mines on the hill, and yeah, this is actually a big problem right now. The tank could be lost easily. Cannon at the same time is a bit in the back, so it's not in the reach of the Martyrs, but at the same time there's going to be like, yeah, an air assault. There's a squad of Stukas right now in the skies, so yeah, he needs to go back. But yeah, the infantry sections with anti-tank rifles, but the Black Prince is so beaten right now. He needs to go back to the base. It could die any second, but I think he's already out of the range of the aircraft, so he's gonna be safe. Yeah, but this was actually a very bad engagement in the end for the Reekley, the British player. He now needs to go very, very far in the back his base and repair his Black Prince. He's probably not going to be able to accomplish anything right now. He just needs to stay at home, while at the same time the German player is going to be capturing all those important resource, victory points, manpower points, ammo and everything that's left open in this field, because obviously the British player can't really contest that. He needs to stay at home, he needs to heal, he needs to repair, and it's gonna take him some time, so we're just gonna fast forward to that moment, because obviously nothing is really happening at this period of time. So the British player is now coming back. Another ambitious attack here with just one infantry section. Again, that's something that you have to do because you need to collect those victory points, otherwise you're just gonna lose the game. But again, you also need to be very careful, because if you lose too much manpower, it just, you know, it can just snowball in the late game. You'll just lose everything at one moment. You'll just have no resources to replenish your beaten forces, and yeah, it will be very difficult to conduct any offensives in the future. So yeah, right now what's happening is that those tanks are a lot more mobile, and they can just appear on every corner of the map in a reasonable amount of time, while the same cannot be said about the Black Prince. And yeah, this is the big problem right now for this British player. He's kind of trying to catch the German player. He's trying to force maybe like this final battle right now, because he actually can afford to do that. He has two anti-tank guns, and obviously this Black Prince, which is a very strong tank that can actually get a lot of work done here on the battlefield, but it can also sustain a lot of damage, and this is what's really important about this Black Prince. But there's probably gonna be this surround right now. A Martyr Dry is dead already. It's a pretty bad start for this engagement for the German player. Yeah, the cannons are positioned right to strike these tanks, and yeah, there are 3 cannons by the British player. Actually, this Panzer Dry is probably not gonna be able to retreat. Actually, he's very, very low, but at the same time, the second Martyr is down, and this is a pretty bad situation for the German player. He needs to retreat, maybe. Armor is trying to engage again. I'm not sure about that. Probably it's not gonna be doing that. The artillery is striking here in this area. The Panzer Grenadiers and Assault Grenadiers are trying to reach those cannons, but probably not gonna happen. One Panzer Dry here again, trying to battle with this Churchill, but it's probably not gonna be a serious battle. Yeah, but oh no, he's actually trying to commit here. He's actually trying to get this Black Prince here with 2 Panzers right now. It's a very risky engagement for both of them, but maybe the German is actually gonna be able to do that. Just one hit needs to be landed to this Black Prince, but no, it doesn't happen, because there are those AT guns that actually seal the deal right now for the British player. And the German player, despite all of the resources, despite all of the amount of vehicles of those medium tanks and Martyrs he had, now he's on the back foot. He needs to think of a comeback, which is very unlikely to happen, because, well, he just lost everything in this last battle. He also doesn't really have many resources, and he also doesn't have many victory points to be able to, you know, try to maybe like wait a bit, maybe fall on the defensive line and just buy some time for himself. It's not probably gonna happen, right? He's still ordering the second tank, he still has some fuel left in the bank, but well, it's just not the same amount that he's probably gonna be needing here in this engagement, in the next engagement. There are still 3 cannons, there are still a lot of infantry sections, and obviously the Black Prince heavy tank, which is the hero of this battle. So far, veteran C2, but he's probably soon gonna get this third one, which also increases the rate of fire, making it absolutely scary for the opponent. So yeah, doesn't look any good for German player. Veslov probably is gonna be trying to go for another tank. He might have 3 Panzers, and it's still, I would say it's still possible to have a good engagement and maybe actually try to come back with this one fight, because if he still manages to target the Black Prince, if he still manages to somehow do that, maybe there is still like a small glimpse of hope for this player. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. We'll see. I said the same about the British player, and he still managed to come back in this game, so maybe the same is gonna happen for the German. Very good grenade by the British infantry section. Yeah, the British guy, by the way, lost this 80 gun, but, well, it's not a big deal right now, I guess, because he still has 2 of them, and he's also making his second tank. And at the same time, yeah, he kinda needs to fight here against this Black Prince, but he cannot really afford that. He'll either have to leave this tank, and yeah, then it means we're gonna lose that, but no, he's actually trying to commit here. The cannons is shooting at the side armor, and the Black Prince is just causing the German forces to retreat. And actually, yes, the British player is gonna emerge victorious in this battle. There is just no way the German player can actually come back. Right now, one of his tanks is very seriously beaten, the second one is also at home in dire needs of repairs, and there is also a very mobile Crusader tank that's probably gonna get this one. But yeah, it's just not gonna happen, and the German player just decides to give in.